we are back at it again with another live one for all you Bi-Conics wrestling nerds out there. And welcome back, because it's been a hot minute for all of us.
It is.
Yes, welcome to another rendition of The Cleanup Crew, your weekly AEW Rampage review squad. I am one of your hosts, Mikey, and with me, as always, is my Puerto Rican hermano, Adolfo, my friend. It has been, really, it's only been 2 weeks, but I've missed you.
I know, it's felt like a lot longer.
Seriously.
But we're here now, so.
We are here right now, and we are here to cover, which I will say was probably one of my favorite Rampage episodes in quite some time. Like, I thoroughly enjoyed it from top to bottom.
I thought even though we haven't reviewed them, the last 3 weeks of Rampage has been very, very entertaining.
If you just let all the fun stuff 1 hour, you got an hour to fill, just put some fun stuff with some story building, and honestly, I would be here for this if that's what Rampage ends up being, moving forward into 2024. But let's get into it. So
let's dive right into it. First things first, I missed Daddy Magic at the commentators table.
Oh my gosh, Daddy Magic is so good.
Yeah, we had Chris Jericho sitting in with Schiavone and not Taz.
Excalibur?
And Excalibur, yeah. It was Excalibur, Schiavone, and Chris Jericho. I really if he would be okay with it, I would be okay if Daddy Magic just became commentator, because he was really good at that commentator table.
I thoroughly enjoyed him, and I got spoiled because at the time of this recording, I just got done watching Collision, and he was on commentary for Daniel Garcia's match against Eddie Kingston. But check out that review later, because me and Luis are about to go in with Collision. It's gonna be great. But hailing from Texas, I don't want to say Garland, Texas, because that's where Final Battle was the previous night.
Yep.
All this tape delay is hurting my brain. I was like, okay, they're in Texas, but it doesn't matter. They're in Texas. We opened Rampage this week with a 6-man tag team match, which saw, well, speaking of Daddy Magic, we saw Daddy Magic, Cool Hand Ange, and Jake Hager take on the team of Orange Cassidy and the treasure that is the Texas boys of the Von Erichs, which I'm going to be completely upfront. I'm going to say this like I did on Dynamite. I know the name Von Erichs, though I do not have an attachment to the history behind those names like some of our more seasoned Bi-Conics boys are, which is the nice way of me putting it. I was like, I'm 30 years old, so I already got schooled, but I'm gonna let Adolfo school me a little bit.
Well, no, this is going to be my school. I have been watching wrestling since 1982, I think it's been. I know the names, the Von Erichs. That's it. I think I saw one Texas death match where one of the Von Erichs wrestled in, but I know them more for their misfortunes than for their in-ring successes. So so take that as you will. But yeah, and don't forget, Danhausen was Managerhausen at the side of the ring.
Manhausen, and he comes into play towards the end of this match.
Yeah, he
I
does.
really appreciated that commentary did fill me in, because this is the third generation of Von Erich, so these are third generation away. And fun fact, I apparently, after Ring of Honor's Final Battle too, because they mentioned this on the pay-per-view, these two have only been wrestling not that long. They've only had 28 matches, and so I was just like, I was like, this is really interesting. I was like, they could have fooled me. But then again, now that I look back at this match, I was like, Orange Cassidy did a lot of the heavy lifting.
Yeah, he did. Also, I think the big thing that they were pushing is, I know the Iron Claw movie came out, which was the Von Erich story or whatnot.
The Von Erich story, which is, for me, I have to wait another week. It doesn't come out until next week. But even besides all that, I really enjoyed this 6-man. Of course, the former JAS boys did what they did. I loved it. Daddy Magic and Cool Hand continued to prove that they are awesome in the ring. Jake Hager was just there, but I love him as our comedic, himbo of the group, so to speak.
Right.
Like I said, Orange Cassidy kind of carried most of the match for him and Von Erichs, but the Von Erichs actually got some stuff in. I was just like, this is actually pretty good. I did appreciate, even though you could still tell they're a little green, I definitely love the multiple corner-to-corner, lariat arms to Daddy Magic and Cool Hand. I was like, I love me a good spot like that.
Yeah, we don't see a lot of that anymore. That is definitely Classic, dare I say, technically sound. You know, they didn't do any crazy like Hurricane Radas or, you know, Mexican luchador stuff that we'll talk about later on. But the stuff that they did do was looked really good. They sold it really well. Yeah, we had Orange Cassidy doing a lot of the heavy lifting, but I feel like his style integrated really well with what they were trying to do with this match.
Absolutely. And of course, Orange Cassidy and the Von Erichs pick up the victory here. And afterwards, Daddy Magic, Cool Hand, and Jake Hager beat everybody down. And as they're about to get some licks in towards the end, we have Papa Von Erich kind of with the entrance with the distraction, which allowed everyone to get in the licks on the JAS boys. And of course, Danhausen comes in and starts cursing people. It was a great time. I love awesome. The continuity that he stole Jake Hager's hat and he's continuing to wear it. I was like,
I know, yeah.
Make this a ladder match. Be like,
I was
the purple hat on a pole match or something.
I am so here for this story. If this is the Danhausen, you know, so I'm here for it.
I love it so much. This was a fun opener. And honestly, when this match finished, I was like, all right, if this is the same energy we're going to get throughout the whole entire night, I think this is going to be one of my favorites. And it ended up being that. So from here, we do get a recap / kind of premiere backstage segment. So what we got between Mark Briscoe and Jay Lethal and their conversation initially was on social media only earlier in the week after Dynamite. Now they played the full thing. I've been saying it for weeks, and I said it on the Dynamite review. I think it's time for Jay Lethal to kind of finally part ways with Jeff Jarrett and squad, because I think there's a more interesting story going on here because, again, I'm using the words of our commentators on Dynamite, which I hate, but both Jay Lethal and Mark Briscoe are mathematically eliminated from the Continental Classic. And so in the last match with the Gold League, please let it be a barn burner. Like, Jay Lethal has proved to me, I was like, I actually forgot he's really good in the ring.
Right. Yeah.
And Mark Briscoe, I was just like, okay. I felt so bad. I was like, why is this man in this tournament if he's just going to continue to eat pins? So now it's like both men who have constantly ate nothing but pins in this tournament are finally going to have a match, and one of them is finally going to eke out a win, even though Mox destroyed Gold League. He is perfect. He got 12 points. I'm just like...
Are we surprised about that, though? I mean, not to deviate too much, but... You know, and it would be nice if this kind of heralds the storyline of Jay Lethal leaving the whole Jeff Jarrett posse. Do they even have a name like the Legion of Jarrett?
I don't know, but I think it's time for Jay Lethal to leave the Jeff Jarrett squad behind, because I think he needs to go back to being pushed as a single star.
Yep. Or I mean, have him and Briscoe become a tag team, as if
that's what
why not?
No, but seriously though, the tag team idea is something I can get behind, especially since we're kind of in need of some tag team revampification in AEW right now.
Fair.
So speaking of tag teams, our next match, which is what we have dubbed squash matches here on the Bi-Conics now. So this is literally a glorified squash match. So we had the Don Callis family versus local talents Hunter Gray and Paul Titan. Don Callis family being represented by Powerhouse Hobbs and Kyle Fletcher.
Kyle Fletcher did, I think, like a elbow in the turnbuckle. Tagged Powerhouse Hobbs in. Powerhouse Hobbs decided to just throw everyone around. Bim, bam, boom.
Powerhouse literally is like, all right, we're ending the match. Bam, there. That's it.
Yup.
Okay, so now let's get to the important part.
Right. Don Callis grabbing the mic afterwards was the longest part of this whole...
Well, okay, let's talk about this, because...
Right. So, as we had said earlier on, Chris Jericho was sitting at commentary, so Don Callis decided to open up on Chris Jericho and basically telling Chris Jericho that him and Kenny Omega, the Golden Jets in the tag team division, the Don Callis family, is in the tag team division, and when people wrestle the Don Callis family now, they have to go by Don Callis rules, which is any member of the Don Callis family can...
I was confused because I feel like Don Callis forgot half the promo. Like, he forgot his own rule set. It's like, whose line is it anyways that the points don't matter?
Right? With his intro artwork, I would have thought it would be more fitting if the Don Callis family wrestled using rules, you know? Like, I don't know. They had
In order to
beat
start
each
the
other
match, you need to slap someone with a white glove.
right, or like you have to
How about
beat each other with a turkey leg or something like that. Oh, that would be good. Suspend a turkey leg from the top of the ring, right? And like ladder match type situation, except they got to get the turkey leg.
Oh my.
But yeah. So
we're trying to make the Don Callis family more interesting because I thought we had a thing going with Kenny and everything, and then AEW let that storyline go, and we forgot. Everyone forgot about it, but not us. Yep. We didn't forget because it's. Well, okay, here's the funny thing, because it's rearing its ugly head again, because they're like, all right, we're restarting the Don Callis family feud and the Golden Jets. I was like, cool, so we're gonna. So at the time of this taping, might I add, so I was like, this was taped right the day before that we got the announcement the following afternoon that Kenny Omega is out indefinitely due to injury. Yep. And so this kind of throws Don Callis' stuff out for a loop. And more importantly, unless Jericho finds a last-minute tag team partner, I don't know how we're going to go forward with the tag team championship match that was supposed to happen at World's End in 2 weeks.
Right. So now that's the question. Like with this whole Don Callis family, they built this whole hate pretty much on Kenny Omega. I mean, Chris Jericho was along for the ride, but you know, it was against Kenny Omega, and now like your main focal point of this storyline is out. And Kenny, we do here at the Bi-Conics, we do wish you a speedy recovery. Diverticulitis sucks, so you know, please just take the time you need to get better, because apparently he's been wrestling with this like for a while. So you know, please get better. You send me healing thoughts. Having said that, now the focal point for that storyline is gone. So like, what do we do with the Don Callis family now?
The same thing we've been doing, just have them do squash matches, and then Don Callis cut a promo. Listen, that's what we've been doing for the longest time, and I'm not saying it's the best idea, but that's the only idea that Tony Khan seems to be able to come up with this. And honestly, this is what I don't know where Takeshita is, but let Powerhouse and Takeshita be on the AEW roster and send Kyle Fletcher to dominate in Ring of Honor. I mean, you kind of have to send Kyle Fletcher to Ring of Honor now, because, spoiler alert, we're recording this after the Ring of Honor Final Battle pay-per-view, so if you are afraid of spoilers, now is your chance to walk away. I'll give you a little bit of time. And spoilers, here incoming now. Send Kyle Fletcher to Ring of Honor, because the man is your new Ring of Honor television champion, so you need him to defend that title in Ring of Honor. Which, by the way, congratulations to Kyle Fletcher. This is his first singles championship in his whole entire career, because he's been nothing but a tag team specialist with Aussie Open. But now that, you know, Mark, his tag team partner, is healing up from that broken wrist injury that, you know, unfortunately got from that match with FTR they had. Yep. So this is a good time to have Kyle just dominate Ring of Honor, but I don't know what we do anymore. And again, I don't necessarily like Chris Jericho, because anytime he has storylines, it always revolves around him having a faction, and then they have issues, and then they break up. That seems to be the thing with Chris. But I really feel bad for Chris. I was just like, listen, I already said my piece. I hated the storyline that we got between the Golden Jets and Ricky and Big Bill. That promo on Wednesday was god-awful. But I don't know, honestly, I don't know what else to do, because outside of the Golden Jets and the Don Callis family, you haven't built up any other tag teams in AEW, because FTR and House of Black are currently in the midst of their own feud on Collision, so they're kind of occupied at the moment. And the Kingdom is involved in the Roderick Strong MJF Black Hole storyline. That is that whole mess with Samoa Joe and Hangman Page and all them now. It's a mess over there. Right.
Mogul Embassy.
I mean, that could possibly work, have the Gates of Agony. But then again, you, like, spoiler alert, Keith Lee and Swerve seem to be doing something, so Mogul Embassy might be involved with Keith Lee for a little bit. So who knows to say, but we got to start building the tag team division in AEW a little bit more, because all your tag teams are involved in other stuff right now, or with their factions, and we really don't have any tag teams out. I mean, the Young Bucks are out for who knows how long, because they're taking some time off. Golden Jets were your big name tag team, I guess, but Kenny's out, so who knows what's going to happen with that. And then your other viable tag teams that you have in House of Black and FTR, they're currently on Collision doing something else at the moment, so who knows how long that's going to take. I feel so bad for this tag team division, man. Ricky Starks can't catch a break.
Yeah, well, I mean, if it would behoove the writing staff to break up the House of Black FTR rivalry, at least for now, you know, and if you're not going to use Mogul Embassy, because I personally think Mogul Embassy versus Don Callis family is a great, you know, would be a great rivalry until hopefully, you know, Kenny Omega comes back. If not, then fit House of Black in there. You have Buddy, you have Malachi, and you have Brody, right? And they can match up against all three, Fletcher, Takeshita, and Powerhouse. You know, I would love to see Brody King go up against Powerhouse. That would be fantastic.
I would be here for it.
Right. So again, I don't think it's not that the options aren't there. It's just that they're not utilizing them, or, you know, they're too afraid to, like, you know, but I don't know. I think with this spot of bad luck, it could actually be a good thing for the AEW tag team division. And hell, have all of them freaking going after Big Bill and
Ricky.
And Ricky. I mean, like, why the hell not? Have Ricky and Big Bill fear for their titles a little bit, you know?
I mean, yeah, and I kind of agree with you. If they decide they want to put a pause on House of Black and FTR and have them come do stuff like breaking up that storyline, I think would be fine. Speaking of breakups, this leads into our next backstage segment where we get a little behind the scenes of Ruby Soho after her loss against Riho on Dynamite. And Saraya comes in and starts yelling at her. And Ruby finally does the one thing that I've been wanting her to do since I was like, are they broken up? Are they not? I think this is the official breakup of the Outcast, because after Saraya berates Ruby and yells at her, Ruby tells her,
I say I like Ruby Soho. I've said that on Cleanup numerous times. Let's start utilizing her in the whole for the TBS Women's Championship, you know, against Julia Hart. Let's not, I didn't see Collision, but at least on Rampage, they didn't do anything this week with Julia Hart and Abaddon, which they've done for the last two rampages prior. So let's throw Ruby Soho into the mix for this, you know. I think that'd be good.
I agree. Let's utilize our women's division more. We have so many talented women. Speaking of women's stuff, we get to actually what I really enjoyed this next match. We get Anna Jay taking on From Yo Mama's Kitchen, Red Velvet.
Red Velvet.
Listen, I pop for some corniness in my wrestling, and I pop every time the announcer's like, hailing from Yo Mama's Kitchen.
Yo Mama's Kitchen.
Red Velvet. And I love that she comes out with the apron and everything. It is...
Oh, it was good.
I love it. This match was really good. I love this match so much.
Yeah. Why didn't you tell me Anna Jay could wrestle?
Because she's been stuck with the JAS boys for the longest time possible. And we're now, for me and for you, we're finally getting back to the Anna Jay that I know she happens to be, like the Anna Jay that fought the Bunny and Ruby and Willow in a street fight. That match was baller. Yep. Like, she is such a good wrestler. She has improved so much since joining the company. And this is a return to form for Anna Jay. But also, this is a really fun way. It seems that Red Velvet has finally shaken off the ring rust since her return from her injury a couple weeks ago. And these two girls knocked it out of the park for me. This was a really good match. Man, a return to form for Anna Jay. I was so excited. I was like, this is the Anna Jay that I know. And
it is time. Let us get Red Velvet a W, because she dropped last week. No, I'm sorry. The week prior, she fought Abaddon and lost. This week, she fought Anna Jay, lost. Let's get Red Velvet a W on Rampage. Is she in Ring of Honor?
No, but you know what? We can put her there anyways, because there's a lot of crossover. And honestly, I think there would be a lot of fun competition for Red Velvet and Ring of Honor, because you can have her go up against the likes of like Trish Adora, Layla Hirsch, Rachel Ellering. I mean, you have Athena and Billy Starks and roaming around there too. Like, there is so many women that she could go up against. Red Velvet, I think, would actually be really fun. Ooh, her versus Kara Hogan would actually be a match I would love to see.
That would be really cool. But yeah, let's get her a W, because she did really good. It was really entertaining. She had a lot of great rope moves. She had a lot of great ring presence. I don't know if it's that type of situation that she might be running like a part-time schedule because of her injury. If that honking knee brace is any indication of the type of injury that she had, she might not feel secure enough. I mean, the ring rust, as you said, the ring rust has been knocked off, but she just might not feel secure in the strength of her knee, because speaking from experience, coming back from a knee injury, you still have that like nagging voice at the back of your head that the leg is not as strong as it used to be. So that fear might still be there for her. So she might be running a shorter schedule or part-time schedule, whatever they're calling it. How about Anna Jay using a submission hold for the win? That was nice.
I love seeing that. And like I said, because she is, I don't want to say a submissions expert, but she used a lot of submissions prior to being part of the JAS. Like, she was starting to do more submissions for her finishers and things like that. And I was so happy. I was like, I couldn't have asked for anything else. Thank you for breaking up the JAS, because now we finally get to see Anna Jay. I did get a little worried. I was like, Daddy Magic, what are you doing out here? I was like, stop. Yeah, Though I did appreciate, I was just like, yes, Red Velvet, you punch him in the face. Like, I love that part.
That was great.
I was like, that is the right move.
That was definitely great. I do hope that Anna Jay's storyline doesn't become like the JAS boys trying to coddle her, like, with the match on this episode of Rampage where you had Daddy Magic come out. She's a superstar in her own right. Let her fly. That's all I got to say about that.
Absolutely. Of course, as we said, Anna Jay picks up the win here. Let's get Red Velvet a W in the near future, in the next couple of weeks. But otherwise, this was a phenomenal match. Okay, so I gotta mentally and emotionally prepare myself for our main event, Adolfo. Okay, so as we get ready, let me explain something to the audience real quick.
Mikey, after this main event, I needed a cigarette.
Yes, me and you both, bro. I was spent. So as we prepare to relive the gloriousness that was this main event, if you don't know by now, me and Adolfo, shocker, are brown boys. We love Lucha Libre. Both of us are, Adolfo's Puerto Rican. I am Puerto Rican Mexican mix, but we love our flippy dippy flying boys of Lucha Libre. And men and women of Lucha Libre is our favorite style. And Rampage, the last couple of weeks, has started to become home of all the fun, high-flying luchador matches.
Yup.
And on paper, I was excited when we were told that this was happening on Rampage. And this match, obviously, is my match of the night. In our main event, in a 6-man tag team match, we have Top Flight, which is Darius and Dante Martin teaming up with Action Andretti, taking on the team of Commander, El Hijo del Vikingo, and Penta El Cielo Miedo. This match, excuse my French, fucking ruled.
Oh, it was so good. Can we first give props to Darius? Is it Darius that came back from his injury?
Dante.
Let's give props to Dante for coming back, because if you have not been in the AEW universe or in the wrestling universe, because I think I have seen it announced like on Fightful and all those news channels, but Dante earlier this year in a match against Commander, I think it was a triples match.
So the match that you're talking about, this was a tag team ladder match at the Ring of Honor Supercard of Honor back in March, and this was to crown the new Ring of Honor Tag Team Championships. And so Top Flight were involved in that match. And so what happened was that Dante's injury stemmed from when Penta grabbed him and they did a Canadian Destroyer on top of a stack of tables. The tables were not the only thing that broke, because everybody who saw that, and we at the Bi-Conics boys saw the aftermath, it was bad.
To get the full setup, they were on
the ladder,
on top of the ladders, coming off down on ladders, which were outside of the ring, to do this Canadian Destroyer spot. And Dante's leg, it went in directions that a human leg should not go. Yeah.
It literally did like a 180. It was really gross. And they kept replaying it too. I was like, stop.
Yep.
And so that was in March. So April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December, 9 months.
And he's
been
back.
out. And he's back. Lord have mercy. This match was everything I wanted. Everybody was flipping around. I will say I think my favorite sequence was towards the end before we got to the finishing part of the match where everyone was just throwing each other on the edge of the ring apron. I was like, I think the highlight though is just like the monkey flip from Dante onto Vikingo. Like, time stopped. Like Vikingo stalled in the middle of the air before Dante finished that monkey flip. And I was like, oh no, he hit his head. Then here comes Penta doing another Canadian Destroyer.
Another Canadian Destroyer.
I was like, oh my gosh, stop you guys.
I think my favorite spot was towards the end where it was the lariats followed by the kicks followed by the elbows where everyone was in the ring and everyone got involved in it. That was fantastic. It was good. It was such an entertaining match.
Everybody did their part. All 6 men did amazing in this match. One of the spots I really enjoyed too is how painful Penta made those kicks sound when he grabbed Darius and knocked him out, put him on top of the turnbuckle, had his head face down, and then kicked him again. I was like, that is the loudest kick I have heard in the last couple of weeks. Somebody check this man to make sure he's still got teeth in his mouth.
We had Chop Fest.
Yes, like a 6-way Chop Fest. I also love that they were fighting each other in the middle of the ring halfway through, and then as soon as they all punched each other, all 6 of them passed out in the middle of the ring.
It was, and then after that ring apron spot, that was when they were all laid out outside of the ring. I think it was good. There was so many good moments from everyone. Like when Commander and Penta did like the diving flips from the inside to outside of the ring, while Vikingo did like a middle rope moonsault as well when they jump. Oh my! Listen, but it's not only that. It's also when it comes to the luchadors, just the over dramatosis of everything. From their outfits when they came in to when Penta does that strut thing, and then he'll tell the audience to be quiet before the chop comes, and he does the whole slow removal.
I love that he did the show with the glove, and then he throws Alex, and then Alex Abrahante is catching it and making it even better.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, just all that just makes it so entertaining. Yeah. By far that was my match of the night. Surprise. It was great. I said this earlier, but if I had seen this match prior to our end of the year show, this would have been my top tag/trios match.
Seriously, I was like, dang it, why'd y'all have to wait until after we recorded that episode to give us some bangers? Again, like you said, I agree with you. When the match concluded, I was spent. I needed a cigarette. I was just sweating all over the place. The cleanup crew needed to clean up. We'll just leave it at that.
Yep.
That does bring us to the end of Rampage this week, so let's...
4 empanadas. Just 4 empanadas.
Yep, I agree. 4 empanadas, top to bottom. I really enjoyed this. This was a really fun Rampage.
Yeah, it was good. It was self-contained. It knew what it had to be. It knew what it wanted to be. And it just it didn't deviate. It came in, did its job, and left. And that was great.
This was the easiest review to do because I thoroughly enjoyed myself the whole way through. But that does bring us to the end of this week's Cleanup Crew review. If you enjoyed this, make sure to check out other reviews we got going on at the Bi-Conics YouTube channel. You can also follow us all over the social medias at BC WrestlePod, where you get notifications of when our reviews go live, as well as some really fun out-of-context clips. Listen, you got to check out the last couple ones that have been released. We may or may not have caught some of the boys slipping with their horniness. We've also talked about 80s style wrestling from our Impact review. And we may or may not have compared our Ring of Honor Women's Champion to an ultimate Disney villain. It was, if you want to know what we're talking about, you need to go check out the social medias. And if you want to hear more unhingedness, make sure to subscribe to wherever your favorite podcast network happens to be, to the Bi-Conics Wrestling Podcast. as Adolfo mentioned, we just did like 2 weeks ago our end of the year review episode where we talked about the highs, and Lord have mercy, everybody was pretty contained and everyone was on the same page for the most part. Then once, if you want to find out why I almost got thrown off of the podcast for my worst pay-per-view of the year, you need to go check the episode out. Like, no spoilers. But that is going to be it from myself and Adolfo. And of course, from your cleanup crew, as well as the